I'm going to give you a tour of all the interesting things on the Norwegian Breakaway, starting from the top deck and working my way down. And we're going to really have to zip through this because this is a great ship with about 50 interesting things that I want to show you. So we won't be lingering very long on any one thing, but I hope this will give you an overview of what's on the ship. We'll start up on deck 18, where at the forward end of the ship, there's a sun deck that I bet a lot of passengers never even discover. It's a bit hidden, and therefore one of the least crowded places to work on your tan. At the back end of deck 18 is a sports court for basketball, soccer, or dodgeball. Just below it, at the back end of deck 17, is much more of the Norwegian Breakaway's sports complex. A ropes course, a miniature golf course, the spider web, and a fun bungee trampoline. There's also one of the greatest water slides on any cruise ship in the world, the Freefall water slide. And there's a more gentle pair of water slides called the Whip. At the far forward end of deck 17, there's a somewhat hidden and underutilized sun deck with great views of what's ahead of the ship. It's not far away from the Vibe Beach Club, which is an adults-only sun deck where you are guaranteed to have a lounger waiting for you if you are one of the first people to board the ship and can snag one of the 60 Vibe passes that they sell. Nearby, there's another sun deck open to all passengers and a bar. And for passengers who have booked a suite in the Haven, there's the exclusive uncrowded Haven sun deck area. The front end of deck 16 is only accessible to guests of the Haven, including a private bar and lounge for Haven guests and a private restaurant. The centerpiece of the Haven experience is the luxurious Haven courtyard with lots of loungers, a small pool, 2 jacuzzis, and an outdoor dining area. And I should point out that unlike her sister ship Norwegian Getaway, the Haven courtyard on Norwegian Breakaway has a sliding glass dome that can be closed during periods of bad weather. The rest of deck 16 is open to all passengers. There's Jimmy Buffett's Margaritaville restaurant, as well as the Margaritaville bar, which is usually one of the least crowded bars on the entire ship. At midship, there's a sun deck, a jogging track, and a climbing wall. And at the aft, there's a video arcade, the Entourage Teen Lounge, and an adults-only area known as Spice H2O, which features lots of loungers, 2 jacuzzis, a gigantic video screen, and its own bar with a smoking area. Now let's move on to deck 15, where at the forward end you'll find the fitness center, as well as the spa reception area, which is where you'll go if you book a massage or any kind of spa treatment. And it leads to one of my favorite features of the ship, the spa thermal suite, with a big indoor pool with warm water, plus a jacuzzi right next to it that's even warmer. There are lots of soft, comfortable loungers for relaxing and enjoying the view out big picture windows, as well as tile loungers with heating built into them that radiates up into your back. There are also steam rooms, a sauna, and some pretty great showers. And the thermal suite has one of the nicest locker and changing rooms I've ever seen. Midship deck 15 is the center of the action on a sea day. You have a swimming pool where there's usually either a DJ or a live band providing music, and there is a very lively bar scene here next to the main pool. A second swimming pool at the base of the water slides is usually full of kids, and right next to it is a kids' water park that younger kids will love. The aft end of Deck 15 is taken up by the ship's buffet restaurant, the Garden Cafe. And if the weather's good outside, think about taking your meal at the Garden Cafe's open-air seating area. The decks from 14 all the way down to 9 are all cabins. And that brings us to the center of the nightlife on the ship, decks 6, 7, and 8. You sure can't miss this gigantic chandelier. It slowly changes colors over time, and everybody wants to pose for a selfie in front of it. On Deck 8, you'll find my choice for the best restaurant on the ship, Cagney's Steakhouse. And another restaurant that meat lovers will want to visit is Moderno, a Brazilian steakhouse. There's also an Italian restaurant, La Cucina, and a seafood restaurant known as Ocean Blue. All 4 of those restaurants not only have traditional indoor dining, but also outdoor dining on the waterfront that wraps all the way around Deck 8. You'll also find a sushi bar known as Wasabi, the Raw Bar featuring a menu of oysters, shellfish, and wines by the glass, Malting's Beer and Whiskey Bar, the Ice Bar, Shaker's Cocktail Bar, and the Prime Meridian Bar, a favorite of mine because it's a little out of the way and therefore one of the least crowded bars on the ship. You'll find sweet treats at the Bake Shop, plus gelato right next door. And we're still not done with Deck 8. There's the Humidor Cigar Lounge, the Photo Gallery, and several shops and boutiques. Plus, a great venue for live rock and roll performances, Sid Norman's Poorhouse. But really, the greatest thing about Deck 8 is the waterfront. That big, wide outdoor deck that runs all the way around the entire length of Deck 8. On a warm Caribbean cruise, it's a perfect place for a drink or a great outdoor dining experience, or just a comfortable place to sit, chat, and enjoy the views. That brings us to Deck 7, where up at the forward end of the ship you'll find the Breakaway Theater, the venue for all the biggest stage shows and headliner performances. Deck 7 is also home to the one restaurant that stays open 24 hours a day. It's Ocean's Bar and Grill, and there's no extra charge for the food there. Across the way from Ocean's is a gaming area, including a small bowling alley. Deck 7 is also home to the ship's casino. And some other popular attractions on Deck 7 are the Bliss Ultra Lounge and Shanghai's Noodle Bar. Of the 3 restaurants that serve as the main dining rooms for the ship, my favorite is the Manhattan Room at the far back end of Deck 7. All 3 restaurants feature the same menu, but I like the atmosphere in the Manhattan Room the best, mainly because there's a band that sometimes plays here and a dance floor. And finally, we've made it down to Deck 6. At the forward end is a very unique entertainment venue called the Spiegel Tent, where they host several different events throughout their week, including an amazing show called Cirque Dreams, which includes a dinner. At midship on Deck 6 is one of the ship's focal points, the Atrium, where they host a lot of audience participation shows and other fun events. Nearby, you'll find a small cafe, the Atrium Bar, the Internet Cafe, the Shore Excursion Desk, and guest services. Headliner's Comedy Club is probably my favorite place on Deck 6. Who doesn't like some good laughs on vacation, right? Deck 6 is also home to the 2 other main dining rooms, the restaurants known as Savor and Taste. There's also Le Bistro French Restaurant, a Japanese hibachi restaurant known as teppanyaki, and the Mix Bar. Also on Deck 6, you'll find the art gallery, the card room, a meeting room, and the library. Ooh, that's a lot of great stuff packed into one very great cruise ship. If you've never sailed with Norwegian before, Norwegian Breakaway is a really great ship to start with. When Norwegian Breakaway debuted in 2013, I think of it as when Norwegian really hit their stride, with some of the best designed cruise ships you'll find on any cruise line. I've come to think of Norwegian as my cruise line of choice, and if somehow you've not yet given Norwegian a try yourself, I think you really should. If you'd like to book a cruise on Norwegian or any cruise line, feel free to use my travel agent, Caitlin Gallagher. Her fees are fully paid by the cruise lines, so her services cost you nothing at all. And she can really help steer you in the right direction, taking care of all the details for you and keeping you from making any rookie cruiser mistakes. Contact Caitlin, the owner of Ambrin Travel, and she'll take good care of you. I'm Jim Zim, a big fan of Norwegian Cruise Line and their Breakaway class of ships. My week on Norwegian Breakaway was my 47th cruise, including cruises on 6 different cruise lines. Now, we stayed in the Haven, but even if you can't afford to do that, I think you'd really find that a cruise on Norwegian Breakaway is a fantastic vacation and truly one of the best cruise ships that you could pick.